After Baba Kofi's banishment, Kaya village tried to return to normal. But whispers of Jabari's laughter lingered. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, a figure appeared at the edge of the village. It was Jabari, his tattered cloak fluttering in the wind. The villagers froze, unsure whether to welcome or fear him. Kwame approached cautiously. "Why have you returned?" he asked. Jabari smiled faintly. "The dead are not yet at peace," he said. "There is more to uncover." His words sent a chill through the village. What secrets remained hidden? Kwame decided to search Mama Nia's hut for clues. Among her belongings, he found a letter she had never sent. It was addressed to a neighboring village, warning them of a dangerous trade network involving stolen medicine. The letter mentioned a name, Chief Mbalo. Kwame's heart raced. Was Baba Kofi just a pawn in a larger scheme? He showed the letter to Jabari, who nodded solemnly. "The truth is like a river," Jabari said. "It flows deeper than you think." Kwame knew he had to investigate further, but the journey would be dangerous. Kwame prepared for the journey to Chief Mbalo's village. He packed food, water, and a small knife for protection. Jabari offered to accompany him, but Kwame hesitated. "Why do you care about this?" he asked. Jabari's eyes gleamed. "The dead speak to me," he said. "They demand justice." Reluctantly, Kwame agreed. As they left Kaya village, the villagers watched in silence. Some prayed for their safety, while others feared what they might uncover. The path ahead was uncertain, but Kwame was determined to honor his mother's memory. The journey took Kwame and Jabari through the forest of whispers, a place shrouded in legend. It was said that the spirits of the dead roamed here, their voices carried on the wind. As they walked, Kwame heard faint murmurs. "Do you hear that?" he asked. Jabari nodded. "The spirits are restless," he said. "They know why we are here." Suddenly, a figure emerged from the shadows, a young girl with hollow eyes. She pointed deeper into the forest before vanishing. Kwame's heart pounded. Was this a warning or a guide? Kwame and Jabari followed the direction the ghostly girl had pointed. They found a small clearing with a makeshift grave marked by a pile of stones. Kwame dug carefully, uncovering a bundle of cloth. Inside was a diary belonging to a girl named Amina. The entry spoke of a secret meeting between Chief Mbalo and a man from Kaya village. Amina had witnessed something she shouldn't have, and paid the price. Kwame's hands trembled. "She was killed to keep her silent," he said. Jabari nodded. "The dead do not lie." The diary revealed that someone from Kaya village had conspired with Chief Mbalo. Kwame's mind raced. Who could it be? He thought of the villagers, his friends, his family. Could one of them be a traitor? Jabari placed a hand on his shoulder. "Trust no one until the truth is revealed," he said. Kwame nodded, but the weight of suspicion was heavy. As they continued their journey, Kwame couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. The travelers reached the River of Doubt, a wide, rushing waterway that separated Kaya village from Chief Mbalo's territory. The only way across was a rickety bridge made of ropes and wooden planks. As they crossed, the bridge swayed dangerously. Halfway across, Kwame froze. "I can't do this," he said. Jabari laughed softly. "Fear is natural," he said. "But the truth lies on the other side." Taking a deep breath, Kwame pressed on. When they reached the other side, they were met by a group of armed men. Their leader stepped forward. "What business do you have here?" he demanded. The armed men were guards from Chief Mbalo's village. Their leader, a tall man with a scar across his face, eyed Kwame and Jabari suspiciously. "We seek an audience with Chief Mbalo," Kwame said, trying to sound confident. The guard laughed. The chief does not entertain strangers, he said. Jabari stepped forward, his voice calm. Tell him the laughing stranger has come. He will see us. The guard hesitated, then nodded. Wait here, he said. As they waited, Kwame wondered what Jabari's connection to Chief Mbalo could be. Kwame and Jabari were led into Chief Mbalo's village, a bustling settlement surrounded by high walls. The chief's court was a grand hall adorned with animal skins and weapons. Chief Mbalo sat on a throne, his expression unreadable. Why have you come? He asked. Kwame stepped forward. We seek justice for my mother, Mama Nia, and for a girl named Amina, he said. The chief's eyes narrowed. You speak of things you do not understand, he said. Jabari laughed, the sound echoing through the hall. The dead understand, he said. And they will not be silenced. Chief Mbalo's demeanor changed at Jabari's words. He dismissed his guards and leaned forward. What do you know? He asked. Jabari revealed the diary and the letter Mama Nia had written. The chief's face darkened. There is a traitor among you, he said. Someone from Kaya village has been working with me, but they have betrayed us both. Kwame's heart raced. Who is it? He asked. The chief hesitated. Meet me tonight, he said. Alone. As they left the court, Kwame felt a mix of hope and dread. The truth was closer than ever. That night, Kwame returned to Chief Mbalo's court alone. The chief led him to a hidden chamber beneath the hall. Inside, they found a map of the region with marked trade routes. This is the network, the chief said. But someone has been stealing from it. Kwame studied the map and noticed a familiar name, Uncle Ikon, his father's brother. His heart sank. Could his own family be involved? Before he could ask more, the sound of footsteps echoed outside. The chief's eyes widened. We've been discovered, he said. The door to the chamber burst open, and a group of armed men stormed in. Among them was Uncle Ikon. You shouldn't have come here, Kwame, he said, his voice cold. Kwame's heart broke. Why, uncle? He asked. Ikon sneered. Power and wealth are worth more than family, he said. Chief Mbalo stepped forward. You've gone too far, Ikon, he said. But Ikon only laughed. Take them, he ordered. As the men advanced, Kwame realized he was trapped. Would he ever escape to reveal the truth? Just as the men closed in, a familiar laugh echoed through the chamber. Jabari appeared, his eyes glowing with an otherworldly light. The dead are here, he said. The men froze, their faces pale. Jabari raised his hands, and the room filled with ghostly figures, spirits of those wronged by Ikon and his allies. The men dropped their weapons and fled in terror. Kwame stared at Jabari in awe. Who are you? He asked. Jabari smiled. A servant of justice, he said. Now, let's finish this. Kwame, Jabari, and Chief Mbalo confronted Ikon in the village square. The villagers gathered, their faces filled with shock and anger. You betrayed us all, Kwame said, his voice trembling. Ikon tried to deny it, but the evidence was overwhelming. The villagers turned on him, demanding justice. Chief Mbalo stepped forward. You will face the consequences of your actions, he said. Ikon was banished, and the stolen medicine was returned to Kaya village. But Kwame knew the journey wasn't over. There were still questions unanswered. As peace returned to Kaya village, Jabari prepared to leave. The dead are at rest, he said. My work here is done. Kwame thanked him, but he couldn't shake the feeling that Jabari was more than he seemed. Will I ever see you again? He asked. Jabari laughed softly. When the dead call, I will answer, he said. With that, he disappeared into the savanna, leaving Kwame to rebuild his life and honor the legacy of those who had been wronged. With Ikon banished and the stolen medicine returned, Kaya village began to heal. Kwame took on a leadership role, ensuring the village's resources were distributed fairly. But despite the peace, he couldn't shake the feeling that something was still amiss. One night, he dreamt of Momania. She stood by the river, her face sad but determined. "The truth is not complete," she whispered. Kwame woke with a start. What more was there to uncover? A few days later, a traveler arrived in Kaya village. He was a tall, gaunt man with a scar running down his cheek. He claimed to have news from Chief Mbalo's village. "Beware," he said. "The traitor's allies are still out there. They will not rest until they silence you." Kwame's heart raced. Was Ikon not acting alone? The traveler refused to say more, disappearing as quickly as he had come. Kwame knew he had to act. Kwame returned to Momania's hut, searching for more clues. Behind a loose brick in the wall, he found a hidden map. It showed a network of caves deep in the savanna, marked with strange symbols. Jabari's words echoed in his mind, "The truth flows deeper than you think." Kwame decided to investigate the caves, but he couldn't go alone. He needed allies. Kwame called a meeting of the village elders. He showed them the map and explained his plan. At first, they were hesitant. "The caves are cursed," one elder said. "No one who enters returns." But Kwame was determined. "If we do not act, the danger will come to us," he said. Reluctantly, the elders agreed to support him. A small group of villagers volunteered to join the expedition. The expedition set out at dawn. Kwame led the group, which included Zola, Momania's apprentice, and Kofi, a skilled hunter. As they traveled, Kofi shared stories of the caves. "They say the spirits of the dead guard the entrance," he said. "Only the brave, or the foolish, dare to enter." Kwame smiled faintly. "Then we must be both," he said. After days of travel, the group reached the caves. The entrance was a dark, gaping maw surrounded by twisted trees. As they stepped inside, the air grew cold, and the sound of whispers filled the cavern. "Do you hear that?" Zola asked, her voice trembling. Kwame nodded. "The spirits are watching," he said. They pressed on, guided by the light of their torches. Deep inside the cave, they found a wall covered in ancient carvings. The symbols matched those on Momania's map. Kwame studied the carvings, trying to decipher their meaning. "This is a warning," Zola said. "It speaks of a great evil buried here." Suddenly, the ground beneath them shook. A hidden door in the wall slid open, revealing a passageway. The group exchanged uneasy glances. Should they enter? The passageway led to a vast chamber filled with strange artifacts, golden statues, jeweled daggers, and scrolls written in an unknown language. At the center of the chamber stood a stone altar, its surface stained with dark marks. "This is a place of sacrifice," Kofi said, his voice low. Kwame's heart pounded. What had happened here? As the group explored the chamber, a deep voice echoed through the air. "Who dares disturb the resting place of the ancients?" it boomed. A figure emerged from the shadows, a tall, spectral being with glowing eyes. "Answer my riddle, or face your doom," it said. Kwame stepped forward. "We seek the truth," he said. The guardian nodded. "Then prove your worth." The guardian posed a riddle: "I speak without a mouth and hear without ears. I have no body, but I come alive with the wind. What am I?" The group huddled together, whispering possible answers. Finally, Zola spoke up. "An echo," she said. The guardian smiled. "You are wise," it said. "But the journey ahead is perilous. Are you prepared? The guardian led the group to a hidden alcove, where they found a chest filled with scrolls. The scrolls revealed the history of the caves, a place where ancient rituals were performed to protect the land from a great evil. But the rituals had been corrupted, and the evil had been unleashed. Kwame realized that Mama Nia had known about this. Her death was connected to the ancient curse. The group left the caves, their minds heavy with the weight of what they had learned. As they returned to Kaya village, Kwame knew they had to act quickly. The evil was spreading, and the village was in danger. But how could they stop something so ancient and powerful? When Kwame shared the scrolls with the elders, the village was thrown into panic. "We must flee," some cried. "We cannot fight this." But Kwame stood firm. "Running will not save us," he said. "We must face this together." The villagers looked to him for guidance, their fear slowly turning to determination. Kwame proposed a plan: they would perform the ancient ritual to seal the evil away. But they needed specific ingredients, rare herbs, sacred stones, and the blood of a willing sacrifice. The villagers hesitated. Who would volunteer for such a task? One elder asked. Kwame stepped forward. "I will," he said. As the villagers prepared for the ritual, Kwame's heart was heavy. He thought of Mama Nia and all she had sacrificed. "I will not let her death be in vain," he whispered. On the night of the ritual, the village gathered around a sacred fire. Kwame stood at the center, ready to give his blood. But as the ritual began, a voice called out. "Wait!" It was Jabari. He stepped into the circle, his eyes glowing with an otherworldly light. "The sacrifice is not yours to make," he said. "The spirits have chosen me." Kwame protested, but Jabari silenced him. "This is my purpose," he said. The villagers watched in awe as Jabari took Kwame's place. The ritual began. The villagers chanted as Jabari cut his hand, letting his blood drip into the fire. The flames turned blue, and the ground shook. A shadowy figure emerged from the flames, its eyes burning with hatred. "You cannot defeat me," it roared. Jabari stood tall. "The spirits are with me," he said. A fierce battle ensued between Jabari and the shadowy figure. The villagers watched in terror as the two clashed, their powers shaking the earth. Finally, Jabari struck the final blow, sealing the evil away. But as the flames died down, Jabari collapsed. Kwame rushed to Jabari's side. "You saved us," he said. Jabari smiled weakly. "The dead are at peace," he said. "My work is done." With those words, he closed his eyes and breathed his last. The villagers mourned their hero, but they knew his sacrifice had saved them all. Kwame and the villagers built a shrine in Jabari's honor. They vowed to protect the land and keep the ancient evil sealed away. Kwame took on the role of village leader, guiding Kaya village into a new era of peace and prosperity. Years passed, and Kaya village thrived. But one day, a stranger arrived with troubling news. "The caves have been disturbed," he said. "The evil is awakening." Kwame's heart sank. Had their efforts been in vain? Kwame knew he had to act. He called the villagers together and shared the news. "We must return to the caves," he said. "We cannot let the evil escape." The villagers agreed, and a new expedition was formed. The journey to the caves was fraught with danger. The land had changed, and dark creatures roamed the savanna. But Kwame pressed on, determined to protect his people. When they reached the caves, they found the entrance sealed with a strange, black substance. "This is not natural," Zola said. Kwame nodded. "The evil is fighting back," he said. They worked together to break the seal and entered the caves. Deep inside the caves, they found the source of the evil, a massive, shadowy creature. It roared, its voice shaking the walls. Kwame stepped forward, holding a sacred dagger. "This ends now," he said. The battle was fierce, but Kwame knew what he had to do. He plunged the dagger into his own hand, letting his blood drip onto the creature. The flames turned blue once more, and the creature screamed as it was sealed away. Kwame collapsed, his strength spent. The villagers carried him out of the caves, their hearts heavy with grief. But they knew his sacrifice had saved them once again. Kwame recovered slowly, his body weak but his spirit unbroken. The villagers cared for him, grateful for his bravery. They vowed to protect the land and honor the sacrifices of those who had come before. Years later, Kwame's daughter, Amina, grew up hearing stories of her father's bravery. She vowed to continue his legacy, protecting Kaya village and its people. The cycle of heroes had begun anew. One night, Amina heard whispers on the wind. She followed them to the caves, where she found a hidden chamber. Inside, she discovered a message from Jabari. "The dead are never truly gone," it read. "Protect the balance." Amina realized that the balance between life and death was fragile. She vowed to protect it, ensuring that the evil would never return. She became the village's new guardian, guided by the spirits of her ancestors. Amina's leadership brought a new era of peace to Kaya village. The villagers thrived, their connection to the land and the spirit stronger than ever. The legacy of Kwame, Jabari, and Momania lived on in their hearts. Amina often visited the caves, ensuring that the seal remained intact. She knew the evil was still there, waiting for a chance to escape. But she also knew that as long as the village stood united, they would never let it return. As Amina grew older, she passed on her knowledge to the next generation. She taught them the importance of balance, sacrifice, and courage. The cycle of heroes continued, ensuring that Kaya village would always be protected. Amina's final act as guardian was to perform the ancient ritual one last time. As she stood before the sacred fire, she felt the presence of her ancestors. "The balance is restored," she whispered. With her last breath, she sealed the evil away forever. The villagers mourned her passing but knew her spirit would watch over them for eternity.
Please support us by subscribing, liking, and leaving a comment. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss our upcoming videos. Your support means the world to us.